What's going on, guys? Howie here from 723 Productions, and I am just off of Route 2 in Massachusetts at the western end of the Hoosick Tunnel, which is a pretty cool tunnel. I think it's, 3 or 4 miles long, that they blew right through the mountain. Quite a lot of history there. And today I'm going to do a 7,500 mile review on my 2019 StreetGlide 114 Milwaukee-eight Special. So let's get on the bike and go for a ride. Okay. Make sure my pockets are zipped up. Just met this guy next to me who came all the way up from Philadelphia to Massachusetts to photograph trains. Just as a hobby. It's pretty interesting. I love it though, you know, he's obviously retired and clearly doing something he enjoys very much, which, that is awesome. Okay. So, nice beautiful little back road here, like I said, just off of Route 2 in Massachusetts. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but I have 7,770 miles on this Milwaukee-eight 114. So my review of this particular motorcycle, I love it. And the more that I ride it, the more that I love it. Motor-wise, she's pretty close to stock. I do have some Reinhardt slip-ons, Stage 1 just K&N air filter, and a Stage 1 Screaming Eagle tune. That's it motor-wise. I do have 12-inch bars, different mirrors, some handguards I threw on, taller windscreen. I do have these little fairing extensions down here just to help block some more of that wind that comes up and underneath the fairing. It really helps with the buffeting. And I also added the lower fairings, which also, especially, you know, being up here in the Northeast, we do get a lot of cold weather. So that definitely helps keep my legs warmer and just keeps whenever it's wet out, it just keeps all the water and stuff off my knees and shins and boots as well, which is very nice. Let's see, other than that, I do have a Saddleman Road sofa seat, which I kind of hated at first, but now that I got now I got plenty of miles on it, but it took 500 or 600 miles to really break the seat in, and now I love it. You know, I've done 600, 700 mile trips, and have been relatively pretty comfortable on it. A heck of a lot better than I was on the stock seat, that's for sure. So, little history about me. Grew up racing motocross. So totally spoiled with suspension, so we will get that is going to be my one major gripe on this bike, but that could be because of my background as well. I've had some adventure bikes. Never really had sport bikes besides buying and selling bikes, so I didn't really spend much time on them. This is only my second Harley. My first Harley was a 2012 Sportster 48. And, you know, I did a ton of work to it, kind of turned into like a little cafe style bike. It was not comfortable at all. So nothing like this. Really have started to enjoy the touring or adventuring or just exploring type of riding. That's really why I wanted to go with a touring model Harley. And again, the more that I ride this, the more that I enjoy it. I think I'm finding more and more capabilities of this bike the more that I ride it, especially when I take it on those longer trips. This bike has made me completely fall in love with cruise control. I never even thought for a minute that I would need it on a motorcycle. But when you've been, you know, holding that throttle all day long, and you get on a highway and you can just set it to 70 and let go and relax that right arm, you'll never want to go without cruise control again. In fact, I've been thinking about a second motorcycle, more an adventure style, just to kind of check the off-road box. You know, that's, again, my history with the off-road. And I really want a Tenere 700. No cruise control, and it's like the only thing holding me back from pulling the trigger on that particular bike. And I'm not crazy about the KTM 890s, which I think would be a close competitor. Definitely more pricey, way more electronic stuff. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. The cruise control is just awesome. The 114 Milwaukee-eight motor with the very slight mods that I have, I think probably pretty common. You see a lot of bikes with just like a stage 1 style. I don't need any more power. Not at all. Like, sure, it'd be fun, but I don't need it by any means. In fact, I'd rather keep the reliability. I'd rather rack up miles on this thing and not worry about doing anything crazy that would shorten the reliability of this motor. I do have a lot of trust in Harley-Davidson as far as reliability. I think they are great bikes. I think, you know, sometimes they get a bad name because people go absolutely wild with cams and exhausts and intakes and just motor work in general, and they beat the absolute piss out of them, and then they blame Harley when their bikes fail. What is going on here? Huh. Different. So yeah, I think if you look at a lot of the touring bikes and people that have not gone crazy with them, and you look at all the retired people who are traveling all over the country, a lot of these guys rack 100,000 miles on these motors, you know, and they don't do nothing but their basic maintenance. They are reliable motors. Of course, there's always horror stories, you know, just with anything. I've had zero issues with this bike, none at all. I've just done its normal services. It had the 1,000-mile service, it had the 5,000-mile service, the next one's a 10,000-mile service. That's what Harley recommends, that's what I'm gonna do. And I bring it to my local dealer, just because when I bought this bike, I did end up buying like one of the pre-purchase service plans. They actually kind of threw it in with the deal, working back and forth. It wasn't something I actually wanted, because I do 99% of my own work. If you follow my channel, you'll see I build a lot of motocross bikes and work on bikes, and I've done a lot of work to this. But yeah, I plan to stick right to Harley's scheduled maintenance times and ride this bike. All right, so reliability, motor, tons of power. You know, it's got plenty of get up. When you open this thing up, she pulls nice and strong. The power band is broad and smooth. I'm really a big fan. I haven't ridden a ton of Harleys, but I have spent some time on a 103. It was ultra limited. Great bike. Definitely prefer this one over it. The motor's fantastic. Let's talk about just comfort, general comfort. Again, I switched out the seat. Stock seat is fine if you're going to ride around town. If you are going to do those longer trips, 5, 6, 700 miles or more, or multiple day trips, I'm a weekend warrior. I have young kids, so so far it's only been like 2-day trips. I'll ride out and I'll ride back, which I'm not complaining. I love it, but I am looking forward to some longer trips soon. So even with that, I definitely wanted to change the seat. Also, I prefer riding solo versus 2-up. My wife really only likes to do like dinner dates and such anyway. So I move around a lot. I use my rear pegs. I use my highway pegs, which obviously that's another thing that was on this bike. And I think that is absolutely crucial to staying comfortable. Same thing, like I said, with the cruise control, you know, being able to take that arm off and relax it. Now, my biggest gripe with this bike is the suspension, both front and rear. I think they suck. They completely suck. Now, if I lived down south or maybe out west where the roads were as smooth as glass, it'd be absolutely fine. You know, unless I was hot rodding it through the corners, which you can ride this thing hard. I really don't. I just like to cruise and tour. But the roads up here in the Northeast, most of them are rough. Our winters are brutal. We get potholes. Of course, they fill them, but nothing's even. We get the frost heaves, so our roads are very rarely smooth as glass. You know, even when they repave something, it does not last long. In fact, you can see ahead of me, there's all these little sealants in places, and this road actually is pretty good, but you could see me bouncing around from all the different frost heaves and such. So stuff like this is not too bad. But we do get a lot of bigger ones, and both the front and rear suspension are just no good. So that is probably my next big purchase for this motorcycle, is I am going to upgrade the rear shocks and do something with the forks up front. Everybody talks about legends in the rear. I might go that route. I don't know. I've really got to do my research and figure out what to do. If you have a recommendation, put it in the comments below. I want to know, because I am definitely doing suspension. Again, comfort-wise, of course, this matters how tall you are. I am 6 foot. I am mostly torso. Legs are a little shorter, so I probably sit like I'm 6'1". So I put a 6.5-inch Clock Works windscreen, and then with those fairing extensions off the bottom of the fairing, I have very little buffeting. I'm very comfortable on the highway, so it's fantastic. If you have to hit the highway for a while, no problem. Now the 12-inch bars do put my hands just a little above the fairing, so on colder days, that's why I've added these hand guards. And they do help keep the cold wind off my hands. So that's awesome. Now again, this is my first fairing bike that I've owned. Again, I've ridden a bunch. I've spent many years working for a Harley dealership. But very, very happy with the wind protection. Carrying capacity, being able to carry stuff in the saddlebags. If I'm doing a 2-day trip, I can absolutely bring everything I need, including my filming equipment, in both saddlebags. Now I do have the 4-point docking hardware with a detachable backrest and luggage rack, and I do have a nice Saddlemen big luggage bag. I have yet to need it, so there is no need for me to carry that on a long weekend trip. Now if I was going to do a 4 or 5 day trip, I'm going to need it. But for my weekend stuff, just the saddlebags is enough. You do have to you know, be pretty good at Tetris on packing these bags. And I do not have speakers in my lids. I think that would definitely make a big difference. That takes up a lot of space. Goldwing. So very happy with that. And again, I would love to add those rear speakers. I don't know how much they'll help, but I don't want to lose the space. I don't want to have to carry my luggage rack and big bag if I'm just going away for the weekend. So I think I will hold off with that. I'm very happy with my speakers that are in the fairing. I think they're pretty good quality. There's only a couple small times where I wish I had a little bit more, you know, maybe cruising if you're doing 80 down the highway with the wind noise, it might be nice to have a little bit more. Okay, so now we're on Route 2. And we are headed west, oh, right into the sun. This is the Mohawk Trail. Awesome, awesome motorcycle road. If you live in this area, you've probably heard of it. And we're getting ready to go right into the fun, twisty part. Let's see. Cost of the motorcycle. Now, these Street Glides are absolutely pricey. There's no way around it. These things are a lot of money. Before I bought this bike, I was heavily considering a BMW GSA 1250. I was going to go brand new. Just because of my background, it fit my style a little better. Just because, again, I'm on the off-road. But what had me leaning towards the Harley is most of my friends all ride motocross. I don't really have any street bike friends. And the culture that is around Harley-Davidson is incredible. You know, they have the rallies everywhere. You know, close to me is Americade and Laconia, which I did go to both, and you can see those on my channel if you'd like. Fun, can meet a ton of people, and Harley-Davidsons are just everywhere, and people love to talk Harley. I could stop at any gas station, any restaurant. I'd say 8 out of 10 times there's somebody there that wants to come over and talk bike with you. Now you do get that with the adventure bikes and stuff, but just nowhere near what you get with Harley. You get people who aren't even really motorcycle people that buy Harleys just because of the name, which I guess is a good thing and a bad thing. But hey, if it introduces people to motorcycles, it's a good thing. So, and I've been really blown away because I kind of had lower expectations for this bike. Even though I was paying a lot, like I knew it was going to be a lot of fun, very comfortable to ride. But I just didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I do. And again, the more that I ride this thing, the more I'm like, hey, I really like this bike. I catch myself looking at it a little extra in the garage, if you know what I mean. I'll walk away and be like, hey, I see you looking at me. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So yeah, I've really come to enjoy this bike. I've had no problems with it. Cost was expensive. It was. If you can afford to do it, they're a phenomenal motorcycle. My only gripe really is the suspension. That is it. So I definitely need your guys' opinions on what to do up front and in the back. Like I said, everyone says legends, legends, legends. Are they really that good? And is there any old school motocrossers that know what I mean? Like, I am spoiled when it comes to suspension. I am big time spoiled. This is recently paved. This is a beautiful road. This is, you know, right here I wouldn't complain. Let's see, what else? The gas mileage is decent. No problems there. It holds enough fuel to be able to get you where you're going. You know, by the time you need fuel, it's about time to get off and stretch your legs and move around anyway, so that works out good. Another thing that I love about Harley-Davidson is the dealer support. Anywhere you go, especially in the United States, there is a Harley-Davidson dealership somewhere close. They are everywhere. And even if there wasn't a dealer, there is, you know, the aftermarket shops that are very familiar with them. You know, and what I do like many manufacturers, but I'd say Harley even does it a little more, is they do use the same motor in so many models. So if you do need a part, chances are it's in stock, which is a fantastic thing. Like, that can make or break your trip. I love the slip-ons. When you open it up, you get a little bit of groan, but when you're just cruising, it's not ear-deafening loud. I can ride this thing for hours on end and not get physically tired from the sound, which many of you may know that, those of you that ride the longer trips. Sound plays a big factor. It's why many people use earplugs. It will exhaust you. Another big reason I did not want a full exhaust. I just wanted the slip-ons. So yeah, that's my 7,500 mile review. I've had no problems, no complaints with this motorcycle. I'm very happy with it. Well, sorry, not no complaints, just the suspension. And I've already dealt with a couple things to help with the wind protection and all, which, let's face it, 99% of us that buy Harley-Davidson are going to do some stuff to their bikes, right? That's half the fun, is making the bike your own. Oh, I did add, or I should say unlocked Apple CarPlay, which is very nice to have. I'm an Apple guy. I happen to really enjoy Apple CarPlay, so I do have that as an option on this bike. That was very easy to do, and I have a video coming out very soon. Actually, by the time you see this video, it's already been out of how to do it. Very simple. So yeah, that's where we're at. I hope you guys like this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and check out my channel. There's a ton of good motorcycle stuff. I do a lot with motocross bikes. I got a partner, Mitch, who does a lot with motocross bikes. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on with the Harley. I just filmed a beautiful trip up to the White Mountains. Did Mount Washington and the Kangamangas Highway. So check that out if you like that type of stuff. And there'll be a lot more to come. So like if you like it, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you on the next one.